Okay guys, I'm making this video kind of remotely from the shop because I had to travel down to California for some family issues, but I'm still going to give you an update. So I didn't bring any of the stuff for the rifle stock down to California because everybody probably knows why. But so here's the current status. So we are literally this close to having these things ready to ship. We are waiting on the final wood stock, like machined, stained, everything for final fitment, so we can take really great photos for you guys. We are waiting on the final folding mechanism piece. We had to make a couple of adjustments to try and tighten things up. Some of these metal 3D printed parts, they kind of have some intricacies to them. We don't have a multi-million-dollar machine, so we have to try them a couple of times. Those, I believe, should be here very early next week, but the current stuff we have does work. We had to increase this tube size to 20 millimeters from 19 because the Ruger stock was a 19 millimeter diameter stock tube. And I just designed it for that. Turns out 19 millimeter stainless tubing is very expensive, very, very expensive, because it's basically custom. So we changed it to 20 millimeters, makes things a lot easier. We have produced some nylon stocks, and I'll edit in a picture of the nylon stock. We've printed that out of carbon fiber reinforced nylon 612 that we also make our holsters out of. And let me tell you, it is really good. So we are going to be offering that up for purchase as well. If you've already pre-ordered, you can order either the wood or the nylon. We're not really sure what the pricing is going to be, if there is any difference between the two. But I think it still looks really, really good. I think it still has the right kind of character to it. I'm going to open up my SolidWorks here in a moment and kind of show you guys where things sit. We have had to make one design decision that not everybody's going to love, but we have a plan to take care of it. So let me switch to this. So this is the way things currently look. We've got the folding mechanism. Again, I wish it was here in front of me to show you. But this is the folding mechanism. We've got a locking mechanism here that'll lock the stock in the open position. It's going to have a spring pin that keeps it so that when they're, I guess it'll be locked in the closed position, so it'll stay that direction. Obviously we have the QD sling mount here. This, we've tested this out with a couple of AK grips. We are going to be producing this AK grip here in the United States for 922R reasons. I'll get to this area in just a moment. But the other big thing is, for the nylon and the wood, we will have a metal Picatinny rail adapter. Stop, I don't care. Metal Picatinny rail situation here. You will have to remove the bayonet, unfortunately, but you will be able to have a Picatinny rail that has a very serious amount of stay on there. It's just about in the right position to have a light or a laser, even though I wouldn't really mount a laser to the stock. I should mount it to the barrel. We'll look into that in the near future. We have tested, like I said, the AK and duckbill magazines in this area. We think it's going to work really well. The only other thing we've added is a pin that's going to go right here. This doesn't interfere with the fire control group at all. What it does is it really locks this down into the stock. So when you put the trigger group in there, it will be kind of tightening everything together. I don't know if you can see my hands. Tightening everything down, it makes it a very, very solid platform. So the downside that we have right now is that we've been experimenting with the double folding buttstock situation. And what we've kind of come to the conclusion of is that, let me switch to this. We've kind of come to the conclusion is, why did the Ruger AC556 use that? And we believe that the answer is because of the folding mechanism that they used in the Ruger. They needed a way to keep it securely folded to the side. And the best way to do that is to lock it onto that little tab that, I guess I could find that. Hold on, let me do it. Okay, we're back at it. Oh my gosh. So basically, I had to pause one more time, sorry. So the reason that this folds like that, as opposed to just being straight up and down the whole time, is that this right here is what they use to lock it all the way forward. When this stock is folded, do I have a good picture of that here? When this stock is folded in this orientation, there's not really a good way to keep it, I guess, in the closed position. Just when you look at it in person, there's not a really good way to do it there without adding a bunch of extra parts. So this is a really good way of keeping the stock closed, during transport and such. If this was straight up and down and it caused it to be stored differently or something, I can understand it, but it really does kind of sit exactly there. It doesn't really make any difference. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be shipping this initially with a fixed butt plate. The reason that we are doing this is because we are desperate to get these out to you guys as soon as possible. Let me switch back to this. Desperate to get this out to you guys as soon as possible because it's a great product. We want to take a little bit of extra time and make that folding butt plate very robust, very kind of clicky and positive, and we want to make sure that it's done right. If you receive the product and you love it in the fixed butt plate variation, that's great. If you don't and you want to swap to the one that folds up and down, we'll be able to swap you out, but we want to make sure that you have this cool new stock and you can play around with it and feel what you're interested in doing. We know that this is not exactly what everyone will want. After playing with it with a fixed butt plate for a minute, I think it's probably a much better option. We had kind of a design discussion about why is this being done? It just it requires a lot of extra stuff, and maybe someone can go in the comments and say oh, it's better for XYZ, but based on what we've been kind of seeing and playing around with the A-Team stock or the AC556 stock, we don't feel that secondary latching mechanism is really benefiting anything other than keeping it securely folded. Yeah, folded. So we believe our folding mechanism will hold it closed to the point where it's not going to be an issue. But again, if you don't love the fixed butt plate, we will be able to swap you out. We just want a little bit of extra time to make sure that piece is very, very robust, because frankly, not a lot of other folding stocks have something that does that. And we want to make sure that whatever we make, people aren't sending it in over and over again while we iterate. We want to give you a stock that you can use right now, and then swapping it out is just going to be really one bolt. And we won't charge you any extra for that, depending on, let me rephrase that. We won't be charging any extra if you want to swap it. If you, initially, if you buy it and you want to pick folding versus unfolding, if we do offer both, there may be a price difference. But you guys have supported us. We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get exactly what you want. So some people have been upset about the folding mechanism in general, right? They say, well, this doesn't look like the original one that you made. So we went to SHOT Show and we talked to Samson. We've called Samson. We've talked to the guys at Ruger. Nobody would give us any time. Ruger will not allow us to have this folding stock, as far as I can tell, and as far as we've tried to do. We believe that modern folding mechanisms, like the one that we've designed here, are far superior to this Ruger mechanism. If you have the one in real life, it just has the opportunity to be kind of crappy very quickly. Those parts are either cast or MIM. They would be very expensive to CNC, and we just can't compete with Ruger's pricing as far as what they've done right now. I would prefer to not have to make our own folding mechanism. It's more of a pain in the butt for me. Maybe Ruger will, change their tune and we could convert over to that, so we just make a new stock, or maybe Samson wants to distribute it. But basically what we've heard is that Ruger doesn't care, kind of like HK. They don't care, you're poor, whatever. So that's kind of where we sit. We understand that some people may not like it because it's different than the AC556, but we're doing our best to make a product that doesn't look like shit, and performs way better than the other stocks on the market. If there's a ton of pushback on this new folding mechanism and the not whatever, we can maybe take another look at it, but I think it's going to be a lot better. I think it's still going to look extremely good in comparison to the Tapco and the ATI and stuff like that. It maybe look a little more modern than I was hoping initially, but again, we don't want to flat out copy the Ruger stock because we don't want to get sued. Even though there's technically no patents that I can find on the AC556 stock, there was something called the Featherlight stock that looked very similar to it, but we don't want to push that. We don't have enough money to fight Ruger or Samson, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where we sit on that. I know this video is too long already. We do have a Picatinny rail option for the back, so you can choose whatever stock you want coming as well. So we will have that demonstrated in the near future. But the overarching theme of this is we're working really hard to get you the perfect product the first time. The folding mechanism is very robust. The tube and all the other stuff, very, very robust. We're waiting on the final piece of real wood so we can show you what the wood is going to look like. I believe we are going to offer different kinds of wood. Some will be significantly more expensive and some will be very, very cheap. And also the nylon version, because I think it looks really good. It still looks better than like the Tapco BS. So I'm sorry for the delay. SHOT Show and some other things happened. Kind of life is in the way. But we should have a finalized version maybe early next week of wood and new folding mechanism, or not finished folding mechanism, and the fixed stock. So thank you so much for your patience. I know I said January. We're pushing a little bit. I've been trying to be clear about my communication, but we are this close. So thanks so much for your support. Have a good day.